Under the bright lights of the America's Got Talent stage, the crowd buzzed with anticipation. Cameras rolled, judges smiled politely, and somewhere behind the curtain stood a trembling 14-year-old boy clutching a worn microphone like it was his last chance at life. His name was Eli Thompson, and tonight would be the night the world stopped to listen. He wasn't like most contestants. There was no stylist fixing his hair, no manager whispering advice. His clothes were simple: an old denim jacket that used to belong to his late father, faded jeans, and sneakers whose soles had seen better days. As he waited for his cue, Eli whispered something under his breath. It wasn't a prayer, exactly. It was a promise. For you, Dad, he said softly. The stagehand nodded, signaling him forward. The heavy curtain parted, and the spotlight found him. The theater, once loud with chatter, fell into a hush. Thousands of eyes followed his every step. Simon Cowell leaned forward, curious but skeptical, as always. Beside him sat Sofia Vergara, her warm smile instantly disarming the nervous contestants. Heidi Klum waved, encouraging him to relax, while Howie Mandel gave a friendly thumbs up. Hello, young man, Sofia greeted. What's your name? Hi, my name's Eli. Eli Thompson. I'm from Austin, Texas. His voice shook, but there was something genuine about him, something raw. Simon raised an eyebrow. How old are you, Eli? 14, sir. 14, Simon repeated, studying him carefully. And what are you going to do for us today? I'm gonna sing, Eli replied, gripping the mic tighter. How long have you been singing? Heidi asked with a soft smile. Eli hesitated. I guess, my whole life. My mom says I used to sing before I could talk. The audience laughed gently, but Simon's tone softened a little. And is this your first big performance? Eli nodded. Yes, sir. First one ever. Well, Simon said, we're ready when you are. A deep breath escaped Eli's chest as the music began, a soft piano intro that many recognized instantly. When a Man Loves a Woman, by Percy Sledge. The choice was bold for someone his age. But as soon as Eli opened his mouth, time seemed to stop. His voice wasn't just beautiful, it was achingly pure. Every note carried weight, every word carried meaning. The tremble in his voice wasn't from fear, it was from memory. You could feel his soul pouring out. The crowd went silent, drawn into the sound like moths to light. He sang not to impress but to heal. His tone cracked on the line, he can't see it, she can do no wrong, and that imperfection only made it more real. Simon blinked, stunned. Sofia covered her mouth. Howie's eyes softened. The big screens behind Eli showed a close-up of his face. His eyes glistened with tears he was too proud to let fall. He hit the final chorus with trembling power. Greater than, when a man loves a woman. Deep down in his soul, she can bring him such misery. The last note stretched like a goodbye. When he finished, the silence was deafening. And then the audience erupted. The theater shook with applause and cheers, some people even standing on their seats. Eli stood frozen, tears now streaming down his face. Simon exhaled deeply, visibly moved. For a moment, the infamous critic had no words. Sofia wiped her eyes. Heidi reached for a tissue. Howie turned to the others. You guys, I don't even know what to say. Finally, Simon spoke. His voice was lower, more emotional than anyone expected. Eli, when you walked out, I thought you were just another shy kid. But the moment you started singing, I felt something. That doesn't happen very often. Eli swallowed hard. Thank you, sir. Simon continued. There was truth in every note. You didn't just sing that song, you lived it. Tell me, Eli, who taught you to sing like that? Eli hesitated, his voice trembling. My dad. He used to sing it to my mom every night. Before he stopped, his lips quivering. Before he passed away last year. The crowd fell quiet again. Sofia's tears fell freely now. Simon leaned forward. I'm so sorry to hear that. Eli nodded, wiping his cheek. We didn't have much, but he always said music was our way out. He worked 3 jobs just to buy me a second-hand keyboard. I promised him I'd sing on a stage one day, so, here I am. The camera panned across the judges' table, each face wet with emotion. Heidi whispered, your dad must be so proud of you right now. Sofia added, you made everyone here feel something beautiful. That's the gift of a real artist. The audience began chanting. Golden buzzer. Golden buzzer. Simon glanced at his fellow judges. His eyes were glossy, but his smile was proud. You know what? He said quietly, standing up. Sometimes, You don't need perfection. You just need honesty. And with that, Simon reached forward and slammed his hand down on the golden buzzer. Golden confetti exploded from above, showering Eli in a storm of gold and light. The crowd screamed, jumping to their feet. Eli dropped to his knees, overwhelmed, his hands covering his face as he sobbed openly. His mom, sitting backstage, ran out onto the stage. She wrapped him in her arms, both crying uncontrollably. The cameras zoomed in on their embrace, the raw, unfiltered love of a mother and her son who had finally made it. Simon walked up to them on stage. "That was for your dad," he said softly, placing a hand on Eli's shoulder. "You've got something very, very special, young man. And this is only the beginning." That night, the clip of Eli's performance broke the internet. Within hours, it had millions of views on YouTube and TikTok. Headlines spread everywhere. Boy sings with soul, judges can't hold back tears. Golden buzzer moment brings America to its feet. Comments poured in from around the world. Greater than, "This kid made me cry at 2 a.m. You can feel his pain and love in every note. His dad is definitely watching from heaven." Eli and his mom sat on their old couch in Austin, replaying the video over and over, unable to believe it was real. For the first time in years, their small house was filled with laughter and hope instead of silence. Weeks later, the live shows began. The stakes were higher, the audience larger, but Eli's humility never changed. He still wore that same denim jacket, the one that smelled faintly of engine oil and cologne, his dad's. For the semifinals, Eli chose another emotional powerhouse, "Fix You," by Coldplay. When he rehearsed, Simon visited him backstage. "You sure about this song?" Simon asked, arms folded. Eli nodded. "Yeah, my mom used to play it when my dad was in the hospital. It's kind of our song now." Simon smiled faintly. "Then sing it for her. Not for the votes. Not for me. For her." When showtime came, Eli stood on stage under a single white spotlight. The first few notes played, and he began. "Greater than, when you try your best, but you don't succeed." The room fell silent again. His voice cracked but never faltered. It wasn't just a performance, it was healing. On the final line, he whispered instead of belting. "Greater than, lights will guide you home." The audience erupted into another standing ovation. This time, all four judges were crying. Even Simon looked away for a second, trying to regain composure. Howie spoke first. "Eli, I've been doing this for years, and I've seen amazing singers. But I've never felt someone the way I felt you tonight." Sofia nodded through tears. "You are the reason we love this show. You remind us that music can touch hearts, no matter where you come from." Eli smiled shyly. "Thank you. I just want to make my parents proud." "You already have," Simon said softly. As the finale approached, Eli became a national favorite. He didn't chase fame or followers, he just sang with the same heart every time. Reporters tried to dig into his past, but there was no scandal, no controversy. Just a hardworking single mother and a boy who refused to give up on his father's dream. For the final performance, Simon gave Eli one last piece of advice: don't think about winning. Think about the first time you sang to your dad. That's the boy America fell in love with. Eli nodded, holding back tears. "Thank you, Mr. Simon." The song he chose was "Stand By Me." When he walked out, the crowd chanted his name. He smiled nervously, looked up at the ceiling, and whispered, "This is for you, Dad." The music started. Soft, soulful, slow. Each lyric sounded like a message to heaven. Greater than, when the night has come, and the land is dark. His voice carried across the hall, trembling with power and innocence all at once. The camera panned to the judges. All four were visibly emotional. Simon leaned forward, his chin resting on his hand, eyes glossy. By the time Eli reached the final line, "Greater than, just as long as you stand, stand by me," he wasn't just singing anymore. He was testifying. When the lights faded, there wasn't a dry eye in the building. Even the audience in the balconies was weeping. The judges stood together, clapping above their heads, while Simon mouthed, "You did it." The host walked on stage. "Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Eli Thompson." Eli smiled through tears, overwhelmed by the noise, the love, the magic of it all. A week later, the results were announced live. Millions of viewers across the country watched as the final two contestants held hands, waiting for the host's words. The winner of America's Got Talent 2035 is. The pause stretched forever. Eli Thompson. The confetti burst again, this time silver. Eli froze for a moment, then collapsed in disbelief. His mom ran up again, hugging him tight. Simon, smiling proudly, joined them on stage. You deserve every bit of this, Simon said into the mic. Your father's dream lives in you, Eli. You reminded us all what music is really about: heart, truth, and soul. The camera zoomed in on Eli's tear-streaked face. He lifted the trophy, his voice trembling. I just want to thank everyone. My mom, for never giving up. My dad, for teaching me everything I know. And to everyone out there, if you've ever lost someone, just know, they're still with you when you sing from your heart. The crowd roared. Simon turned away, dabbing at his eyes. Sofia and Heidi hugged each other, sobbing. Howie clapped with both hands above his head. It wasn't just another victory, it was a miracle. In the weeks that followed, Eli's songs topped the charts. His audition performance reached 100 million views. But through it all, he remained the same humble kid from Austin who sang for love, not fame. In one interview, a journalist asked, Eli, do you still talk to your dad before you go on stage? Eli smiled softly. Every time, I just close my eyes and pretend he's right there in the front row, smiling at me. Then I sing like I'm singing to him. The world fell in love with that answer. Years later, when Eli returned to America's Got Talent as a guest performer, Simon introduced him personally. Ladies and gentlemen, Simon said proudly, a boy who once sang with soul, and made us all cry, is now a man who sings with purpose. Welcome back, Eli Thompson. As Eli stepped onto that familiar stage, the crowd rose again in thunderous applause. He looked out into the lights, took a deep breath, and smiled. And for a moment, he swore he could see his father standing in the front row, hand over his heart, whispering, Sing, son. Sing with soul. Eli lifted the microphone and began to sing, his voice deeper now, but still carrying that same ache, that same fire. The same soul that once brought the world to tears. And as he sang, the audience cried once more, not just for the song, but for the boy who reminded them all that music can heal even the deepest wounds. The lights dimmed, the applause thundered, and somewhere above the stage, a single golden confetti drifted down, landing softly at Eli's feet, like a blessing from heaven.